Yeah, I think that, and that was my initial question on that. Does 19.3.6.1 apply? Is there a 20% cap on additional parking that is not on site, that is not exclusive?
And that's where Mr. Dodrell has opined that the grandfathering goes out the window because of the new application. And that's not something I necessarily agree with, because that easement was previously appended to the larger parcel, and it's a permanent easement that's in place, even if it's non-exclusive. It's a permanent easement that's in place, and it's part of that larger parcel that was subject to the previous Fulton County zoning. I think if that was the basis that this did not go forward, it could potentially be problematic.
And are you saying that our ordinance does not require that it be exclusive?
One thing, it doesn't require it to be exclusive. What Cecil addressed the fact, because they're coming in for this rezoning doesn't mean they now lose that ability to include what they have as a permanent easement for additional parking.
But wasn't the question,
as a part of the application.
Wasn't the question, does the 20% rule apply in this case, in this new application? Does it not apply?
I can't give you an off-the-cuff opinion.
That's an off-the-cuff opinion, but I'll tell you, I don't think that's the strongest basis for this not to go forward.
So you don't know at this point whether it applies. Okay, I just have some concluding comments, Mayor.
Go ahead.
Just to relay the history in this one-year saga. Initially, the staff reviewed the parking, and to me, this is an issue of parking and protecting the general public welfare and safety of the community. This is about parking. And initially, the staff calculated the amount of parking based on section 18.2.1, which was upon the proportion that each use contributes to the total. And that is because, and that would have generated 41 seats, or using Mr. Galloway's number, 41, looking at the strict interpretation of the zoning ordinance relative to a sanctuary area. The difference in the two numbers relates to the fact that the staff looked at it as one parking place per 30 feet for their sanctuary of 1,218. That was the first way they looked at it, the staff, 41 parking places. Upon further review, they went to section 28.1, paragraph 3, and they looked at the ability of the council to impose conditions relative to protecting the public health, and they analyzed the parking impact by parking studies submitted by the applicant.
I believe we are going through the protection as we have already.
So, Mayor, and so in that analysis that came up, they suggested 3.5 parking places per 1,000. A recent analysis on proportional use, which I admit is not in the zoning ordinance, but neither is the 3.5. It came out at 148 spaces. So all over the map here we have different numbers in terms of adequate parking, and I am not convinced that whether it is 1.5 parking as the applicant has voluntarily requested, or should it be 148 spaces, it's all over the board. And I think the evidence to me suggests that it is overdeveloped and underparked. And I'm going to vote to deny. Thank you.
Mr. McGinnity.
I have just two very short questions. I think I know the answers, but I want to confirm before I vote. Nancy, I know your staff has worked long and hard with the applicant, and at the end of that process, you recommend not what the applicant has asked for, but instead alternate or staff conditions that allow the building basically to sit as is and be used in that form. Is that a correct understanding?
We have, but we also have indicated to you a set of alternate conditions that we can also support.
Okay, and when the Planning Commission heard the same matter that's before us tonight, last month. They too did not grant what the applicant was looking for, but instead agreed that staff conditions were appropriate and voted in favor of that.
That's correct.
And Woody, not to put words back in your mouth, but you have stated tonight that those conditions are unacceptable to the church.
That is correct, because it doesn't allow them to operate and to use and to practice their religion.
That's, I don't need an explanation, I just want to make sure that I understood.
Subjective thing too, I think, is whether it provides space to practice their religions with the degree and extent of their practice maybe.
I understand, okay, that helps me, thank you very much.
Mayor, I'm ready to call the question.
All right, the question's been called. All in favor?
Second, the motion to call the question.
All in favor of calling the question, ma'am?
Aye.
All right, you got a motion on the floor. Diane, would you like to repeat your motion? Or do you remember it?
Well, thank you. I just moved to approve with the staff recommendations, not the...
And we'll identify which staff recommendations, so we don't have any...
The staff recommendations,
Not the alternate.
Not the alternate.
The ones
ones
the
that
planning
came
commission.
through from the planning commission.
Yes.
Yes.
Could we have
there.
staff read those conditions into the record?
Be helpful.
Don't read the whole blessed thing, just the part that we're all talking about.
It's the whole blessed thing.
I think it's a document that can be identified. Might do that. Identify your document
All right.
and give a synopsis of what that
Okay,
provides.
all right, I would like, let me make clarification so the council knows what I'm talking about. I would like to approve this with staff recommendations which is page 14 of our packet. 14 and the top part of 15, so it's 1, 2, 3 of them.
You know how many sections there are?
Councilwoman Freeze, if you can look at the bottom of the page and use the page number that the staff requested.
That's what I've got.
Mine's page 13. Page 14 and 15. 13, 14.
Oh, shoot.
13, 14, 15.
I gave them to Rusty and I put them back. I'm sorry, it's a different page.
It's page 19.
Yep.
Oh,
19 and 20. And does it continue on to?
Staff recommended conditions.
It's actually those two pages.
19 and 20 of 24.
And if you could incorporate into your motion any associated site plans that are referenced in the conditions.
That is a clip. All right, here we go again. Staff recommendations, their conditions, page 19 and 20 of our packet. In any site,
Any associated site plans
associated
referenced in the
site plans
conditions.
that are referenced with these conditions.
And I second.
All right, you've heard the motion and you've got a second. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. All opposed? I'm gonna go with the motion. All right, gentlemen, I think that, and ladies, we've, had that long and thorough discussion. I know neither side is happy.